Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is John Campea, and I am so happy that you've joined me here today for my quick review of the brand new Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson film, Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. Now, this movie is kind of a requel, if you will. It's a little bit of a sequel. It's a little bit of a reboot, of course, of the old classic movie with Robin Williams. But make no mistake about it, this is a movie that stands on its own completely. Okay, so the basic idea of Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, as you've probably seen in the trailers, is the fact that you've got these four kids, very different from each other, who end up in detention. While cleaning up one of the basements of the high school as a part of their detention, they come across this old video game system. And sure enough, when they try to activate it, whoosh, they're all teleported into the game, taking on the various avatars of the characters they chose. Those avatars are, of course, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, you've got Kevin Hart, you've got Jack Black, and you've got Karen Gillan. Now, if you don't recognize Karen Gillan, you would if she had blue makeup all over her face. She is the girl who plays Nebula in the two Guardians of the Galaxy films. And look, I'm just going to cut to the chase here. I think this movie's a lot of fun. Now, here's the kind of the progression that I went through with this movie. The movie opens up with the high school students. And for the first 10 minutes of the film, I'm going to be honest with you, I was kind of ready to walk out. It was so overly thick with these stereotypical high school drama kind of ideas. It was so thick with like each one of these high school characters represents a various different kind of, a completely atypical, stereotypical high school type. You've got the pretty blonde girl who is as stereotypical pretty blonde girl as you can possibly get. They had the nerdy kid who is as nerdy kid as you can. You had the jock who is as the jock as you can. You got the quiet wallflower girl who is as quiet wallflower girl as you could totally get. And I thought, there's nothing to these characters. They are such stereotypes of everything we've seen in every other kind of teenage movie before. However, once they get into the game and they take on their various, icons, if you will, getting in there, their avatars, you start to realize, wait a minute, those first 10 minutes of the movie had to be that way. Because they had to really distinctly put those characters in our face so we could see their characters in their new avatars. So when the scrawny, geeky kid, who we just became familiar with for the first few minutes, is now supposedly inhabiting the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson avatar, you can see those mannerisms come through. So while I was kind of ready to walk out of the theater in the first 10 minutes of this movie, I later started to realize, wait a minute, the first 10 minutes were totally necessary. They needed to play it that way, because it adds to the oomph a little bit later on as we see these kids manifesting themselves through these various actors. So, first off, let's start with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Dwayne Johnson is terrific in this. He has had two major comedies this year. One, obviously, was with Baywatch, and that did not work out so good. The second, though, is this one. And in this one, he comes across a lot better. There's just something about the way he's free to play this character, to be that teenage kid who's just loving this new body. And The Rock is great at pretending to love this body. I mean, he's awesome at it. And he works on every level. But Jack Black may be the guy who steals this movie. Now, I talked about some of the teenage characters. The hot blonde girl is the one who inhabits the Jack Black avatar. And I think you probably saw that in the trailer. But the way Black plays it is gold. Now, Jack Black has always been very gifted comedically. Absolutely, he has been. But there's something about what he brings to this role in this movie that totally knocks it out of the park. Kevin Hart, I keep waiting for myself to get tired of Kevin Hart's shtick. Because Kevin Hart has a particular shtick, and shtick is neither good nor bad. It just is what it is. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Kevin Hart's shtick has clearly worked for him in his career, and I keep waiting for me to get tired and bored of his shtick. But I gotta admit, I usually don't get tired of it. And in this particular movie, playing the big hulky jock who now ends up in this small diminutive body of Kevin Hart's, Kevin Hart plays it great. And once again, we see that same great comedic chemistry between Dwayne Johnson and Kevin Hart that we saw in Central Intelligence come across in this one. I actually thought their chemistry in this one was even better. Karen Gillan, she didn't have as much to stretch herself with because she plays the wallflower girl. And Karen Gillan is clearly an incredibly hot woman. So for her to play kind of a little bit insecure and doubting of herself, wallflower kind of a girl, came across pretty damn well. Now, I'm going to mention one of the things that really stood out to me that is a negative in this film. And that was the wasting of Bobby Cannavale, who plays the villain in the movie. First of all, they never even mention that he's in this movie, like in any of the marketing. So he's the villain, and he's so wasted. He's only in a couple of scenes, and what scenes he's in, I don't know. Look, he's a great actor, so I'm not going to blame him. What they had him doing was ridiculous. And not fun ridiculous, just stupid ridiculous. And it was such a waste of this guy's talents that it just didn't work for me on any level. One of the other really cool things about this movie, too, is that it plays on the whole video game motif. The movie progresses through its story, and you find our hero characters progressing through the story as progressions in a game. So there are several kind of stereotypical things that you'll find in video games. You know, the dramatic music when this happens, certain characters do this things, and ultimately ending to a big boss fight and things like that, that walks through a progression of the game. And on that level, it kind of worked for me as well. Now, are there some logical inconsistencies with Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle? Oh yeah, absolutely there are. You bet your ass there are. There completely are some logical inconsistencies. But they were so minor in such a way, minor in relation to their importance in the overall movie. In another movie, there would have been major problems. In this movie, where clearly the focus of our attention is supposed to be on other things, it didn't actually end up bothering me all that much, so we were able to blow through them fairly simply. There is a big callback at the end, which kind of worked. Now, a lot of people have been asking me, John, is there a Robin Williams cameo? Like, there have been rumors about a digital Robin Williams cameo, cameos by other cast of the original movie. And I will answer that question by saying, I'm not going to tell you. You're just going to have to see the movie for yourself. This is not a spoiler review, so I'm not going to mention that at all. But I will say this. Overall, Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle is a very surface, not deep, and not something that we're going to be remembering and talking about 15 years from now kind of a movie. But for what it is, a fun, self-escaping, no pun intended because of the nature of the movie, kind of movie with a good amount of laughs and a good amount of heart and kind of makes you feel good by the end of the film and leaves you smiling, then on all those levels, this movie succeeds. I actually had quite a good time with it, and I was really shocked, especially after the first 10 minutes. I cannot emphasize enough, just grit your teeth down and get through those first 10 or 15 minutes, because it does eventually pay off in the film ultimately. An all-time great? No. Top 3 comedies of the year? Not necessarily. But in general, I found Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle a worthwhile trip to the movie theater that I think you'll be glad that you went. Anyway, guys, that will do it for my quick review of Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle. What did you think? Have you had a chance to see the movie yet? If so, jump down to the comment section and leave your thoughts. Do what I am saying right now, does that jive with what your expectations for the film has been? Yes? No? Again, jump down to the comment section and leave me your thoughts. While you're here, click the subscribe button. Also, click that thumbs up button. Make sure you subscribe and follow me on various social media, just simply at John Campea. That'll do it for me for now, guys. My name's John Campea. Thanks for joining me. Until my next video, bye-bye.